Hello everyone, hope everyone has had a good week so far. It's nearly the weekend, it's Thursday evening, and for the next 30 minutes I'm going to be running through a live, all based around fat loss, what actually works, and essentially tips and tricks to make you guys be successful with fat loss and reaching your goals. So I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds to a minute to join. But essentially what we're going to be running through today is fat loss, what actually works. So I know a lot of people are scrolling on social media for quick solutions, but what I'm going to show you today is some clarity around fat loss and some actionable advice in terms of what you can follow. If this is the first time that you guys have seen me, my name is Ross. I've been training for over a decade. This is my current condition at the moment. So I've got a lot of experience in the health and fitness industry. And what I wanted to share with you guys today is my passion for health and fitness. And that's where we're going to be running through today, fat loss, what actually works. From my experience, I find fat loss is one of the most confusing topics online. There's so many myths, gimmicks, and quick fixes. But today I'm going to cut through the noise and show you what actually works. This is based on my experience. This is based on my knowledge. And to be honest with you, just my time from training consistently for the majority of my life. Thank you, Yasir, for liking the live. Guys, if you've got any questions whilst I'm running through, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'm always on hand here to answer any questions that you guys have. I'm running these lives to share my knowledge in terms of health and fitness. So, in terms of the agenda of what we're going to be running through today, we're firstly going to be running through common fat loss myths. Then going to move into evidence-based fat loss strategies. Then moving into a interactive Q&A. So if you guys have got any questions, please pop them in the chat and I'm going to be answering them as we run through the session. And then I'm then going to move into some key takeaways. So that is going to be essentially me reviewing what I've run through for the session in terms of key topics. And then lastly, just around 7:30, I'm going to wrap up and then finish off with a call to action. So for anyone that is just joining, my name is Ross. I've been training for over a decade. Today we're going to be running through the topic of fat loss. I know there's a lot of confusing topics online, so many myths, gimmicks and quick fixes. But today I'm going to cut through the noise and show you what actually works. This is my current condition at the moment. So if you guys are wanting to see results, please stay for the next 30 minutes, ask questions, and I'll be more than happy to help you in terms of my knowledge and expertise. But what we're going to do first is move into common fat loss myths. So most people have already tried fad diets. So this is going to be relatable in terms of these fat loss myths. So the first myth that we're going to talk about is carbs make you fat. Carbs alone won't make you fat. They are not the enemy when it comes to fat loss. Fat loss is all about calories in versus calories out. And for the majority of people who are trying to either lose weight or if they're trying to lean up, a lot of them don't know how many calories that they're having each day. If you guys don't know how many calories you're having each day, it doesn't matter if you're cutting out carbs. If you don't know what your base level point is in terms of how many calories I need, and if I'm in a slight deficit to achieve fat loss or weight loss or to lean up, then it doesn't matter in terms of if I'm eating carbs or not. Super, super important to make sure that it is all about calories in versus calories out. The next myth to cover is spot reduction works. So let's say, for example, you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, do you know what? I want to lose some fat off my waist. I want to lose some fat off my thighs. You can't do spot reduction. At the end of the day, you can't pick where fat comes off. Realistically, it comes down to your diet. It comes to calories in versus calories out, and we can't choose where the fat comes off. All we can control is how many calories that we're having day to day. Are we doing the 10,000 steps a day? Are we hitting the gym regularly? Doing these small steps lead to big results. And then the last myth that I'm going to cover are fad diets are fast and sustainable. So with fad diets, they are definitely not sustainable. A lot of people who go on fad diets are doing a fantastic job in terms of sticking to it for like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even a month to 6 weeks. But in terms of achieving fat loss successfully, you need to be implementing something not for 1 week, not for 2 weeks, not for 3 weeks, but for many months. And that's why it's super, super important that you implement something that is going to be able to be consistent for the long term. Fad diets are not going to give you the results long term. It's super, super important when it comes to fat loss that you have something that is sustainable. Quick fixes in relation to fad diets rarely last. So the next topic that I wanted to talk about is evidence-based fat loss strategies. So for anyone who is watching this live that has struggled with losing weight, or they've gone to the gym, they've either fixed up their diet and they've not got the results that they want, what I want to share with you here is real actionable solutions that you guys can use to get the results that you want. So like for me here, I'm following something that is evidence-based and something that is sustainable. There is no magic pill, there is no magic supplement in order to build success. But what I'm going to do here is deliver the real actionable solutions that you guys can use. So for me, when I was thinking about this, I wanted to build something for you guys that is very simple and practical. And at the end of the day, I don't want to overload you guys with loads of theory. So I'm going to break these down into super simple segments for you guys to follow if you guys want to be successful at fat loss. So what you need to focus on first is your nutrition. Nutrition is the most important part when it comes to fat loss. It doesn't matter how many times that you go to the gym, you can't out-train a bad diet. So it's super, super important that you focus on a calorie balance and your protein intake. So how are you going to do that? If you guys don't know how to calculate how many calories you need to have each day, you need to go online to a calorie calculator. You go onto Google, you type in TDEE calculator. You click on the top link, you fill out your information, name, height, weight, activity level. There's no need to lie, no one's judging you. If you're doing a desk job, that is no problem. You'll then work out how many calories you need to have each day. Let's say it's 2,500. You then need to be in a slight deficit in order for you to achieve fat loss or weight loss or to lean up. So that is the real simple way to identify your calories and to get a calorie balance. In terms of your protein intake, you should be having at least 1 gram per pound of body weight for your protein intake each day. So for me to achieve this physique here, I weigh around 82 kilos at the moment, which is around 180 pounds. That means then I need to have around 180 grams of protein each day. Nice and simple. You take your weight in kilos, you put it in pounds, and then that's how much protein you need to have each day. So the next pillar that I want to share with you guys is strength training needs to be a priority if you guys want to achieve fat loss. So what you guys need to do is you need to make sure that you're doing at least three strength training sessions each week. For myself, I maintain this physique doing 3 1-hour gym sessions each week. That is all. Nothing crazy. I'm not living in the gym. I've got a good balance of living outside of the gym and living my life and working hard when I need to. So the main reason why you're going to focus on strength training first is because this will build muscle, which will make you look a lot leaner. On top of that, this will burn calories even when you're resting, which is going to give you the more bang for your buck. Alongside that, in terms of achieving successful fat loss, you guys should be doing cardio as a secondary pillar in terms of success. The first one is nutrition. The second one is strength training 3 days a week. And the third one is doing cardio. So this is going to help you in terms of your heart health, and it's going to burn extra calories. If you don't like running in the gym, that is not a problem. You should be doing a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. Nice and simple. If you can't do 10,000 steps a day, I'm going to give you guys the best advice. I only do 10,000 steps a day. I'm not doing no crazy amounts of running 3, 4, 5 times a week. How I break up 10,000 steps a day to maintain this physique is when I wake up in the morning, I get morning sunlight. So I do 10 to 15 minutes to a 20-minute walk in the mornings. That is around 2,500 steps. I then will go for a walk at lunch after my lunch. That is then probably around a 30-minute walk. That's probably about 3,000 to 4,000 steps. And then in the evening, once I've had my dinner, if I want to call someone or have a chat on the phone, I will then do my last 15 to 20-minute steps. I know it's quite difficult at the moment. It's not very motivating with it being super cold and super dark outside. But if you break it up into these segments, you can very much easily achieve 10,000 steps a day. And this is the physique I maintain, just doing 10,000 steps a day and following those steps. I'm not holding no secrets here, guys. I've given you all of what I follow for my nutrition, for my workouts, and for my cardio. If you guys have got any questions whilst I'm running through, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them as we run through. But in terms of what we've run through so far, evidence-based fat loss strategies. This is going to deliver real actionable results. So these are going to be simple but practical things that you guys can follow. First things first is the nutrition. Focus on calorie balance and protein intake. Go online to a calorie calculator, as I've mentioned. Have 1 gram per pound of body weight. In terms of exercise, strength training first. This is because it will build muscle, which burns calories even at rest. So if you want to achieve fat loss, you don't need to be hitting cardio 24/7. All you need to do is you just need to make sure that you're strength training at least 3 days a week. And then as the last pillar is cardio. This will support your heart health and burn extra calories. In terms of your cardio, all you've got to do is 10,000 steps a day. 10,000 steps a day, 3 sessions a week, and you get your nutrition dialed in slightly. This is the physique I'm maintaining at the moment. In terms of the next evidence-based fat loss strategy is going to be around sleep. So you need to get around 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. The main reason why rest and recovery is so important is, number one, if you do not sleep, you are going to feel like shit. If you feel like shit, you're going to be miserable. If you're going to be miserable, you're then going to be tired. If you're tired, you ain't then going to be doing your workouts and you ain't going to be sticking to your plan. Super, super important to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. This also affects your hormones that control hunger. So if you guys want to achieve fat loss, then you need to make sure that you are getting enough sleep, because otherwise you're going to start delving down and binge eating just because potentially you're not having enough rest. Sleeping to 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is going to be good for you because it's going to maintain stress management. This is going to stop you getting super stressed out and then jumping into a bag of Doritos or chocolate cake or angel cake or whatever you like to indulge in. It's really, really important with sleep. It affects so many things in terms of your body, in terms of your mind, and in terms of the results that you want to achieve. I'm getting this body here through the basics in terms of what I'm sharing with you guys right now. And I know we're not robots, and I know we have bad nights, but for the majority of the nights, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, that's what you guys should be getting. And the last quick hack that I want to share with you guys is meal prep once a week. If you meal prep once a week, and on a Sunday, this is what I do. I do my breakfast and my lunches for the week from Monday to Friday. This is by far one of the most effective things that you can do, because when you're in the office in the week and things get busy and we just need to go out for a bite and we feel hungry, if you've already got your meal prep there ready to go, you're on a good path. You don't need to go to the cafe. You don't need to go and get a chicken wrap. You don't need to go and get a Tesco's meal deal. That is what's killing your progress. And I've maintained this physique here just by meal prepping once a week on a Sunday, my breakfast and lunches. I come home and cook my dinners for the week. But generally, if you plan the weeks right with your meal prep, then you are going to be onto a winner. By far, that is one of the most important things that you can do, because nutrition is the most important part when it comes to fat loss. So, guys, I know I've run through that there quite quickly, but if you guys have got any questions in terms of what I've run through so far, then please put them in the comments. If you guys have any questions in relation to fat loss or weight loss, please put them in the comments now and I can answer them as we're live throughout the session. We have just got over 12 minutes left on this session in terms of fat loss, what actually works. So, in terms of what we're going to be talking about next is the key takeaways of what I've run through so far. So, super, super important is I want to give you guys a 1 to 2 punch summary so you guys know exactly what to do when you guys, next time that you guys are planning for the week. I know it's Friday tomorrow, but what can you guys do from next week and even from this weekend in terms of planning and setting yourself up for success? So, simple things that you guys need to do is track your calories and your protein. You go online to a TDE calculator. You fill out your information. You then have your maintenance calories. You'll then subtract 200 to 250 calories off that number. You can then use MyFitnessPal to track your calories. If you use MyFitnessPal, all you need to do is scan the barcode of things that you eat. The one thing that I would recommend is I always like to track my foods for like 1 week. And then once I get a rough idea of the calories that I need to have every day, you can start eyeballing stuff once you start getting a little bit more experienced. But the one thing I'd say is track your calories to begin with, because that is the most important thing when it comes to fat loss. Remember, you can't out-train a bad diet. So super important to make sure that you are tracking your calories. In terms of your protein intake, super important to make sure you at least have 1 gram per pound of body weight. So you take your weight from kilos, you put it into pounds. Myself, I'm 82 kilos. That means I'm around 180 pounds. So that I need to have 180 grams of protein each day. You need to make sure that you lift at least 3 days a week. If you lift at least 3 days a week in terms of strength training, then you are shaping your body. Strength training builds muscle and burns calories even when you're resting. So super important to make sure that you basically prioritize strength training. You need to make sure that you're sleeping well and managing your stress. If you're sleeping between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, you're going to feel a completely different person. So aside from sleeping well, you also as well need to make sure that you're managing your stress levels. If you are managing your stress levels, this will prevent overeating. This will also affect hormones that control hunger. So if you are basically sleeping enough, you are then managing your stress level, which then in turn prevents stress eating. That means then you're on track to achieving successful fat loss. And for me right here, this is my current condition in terms of making sure that I'm getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I'm making sure that I've got a good handle on my nutrition. So I'm getting at least 80% of the week is eating healthy. 20% of the week I'm having a bit of a treat. I'm making sure that I'm doing at least 3 strength training sessions each week. And then on top of that, I'm making sure that I'm doing 10,000 steps a day. So in terms of what I've run through today, guys, just as a quick summary. So I've run through some common fat loss myths. So I've spoken around the myths around carbs make you fat. Fat loss is mainly all about calories in and calories out. Spot reduction works as another myth. So you can't choose when it comes to fat loss where you're losing the weight from. At the end of the day, you can't pick where the fat comes off. You just need to make sure that you're following your diet consistently and you're following the small steps that lead to big results. Another myth, fad diets are fast and sustainable. So quick fixes rarely last. The main reason for that is a lot of these fad diets, you're cutting out carbs, you're basically eating things that are not going to be sustainable for the long term. And that's why in terms of being successful with your fat loss, you need to make sure that you implement something for the long term. Super important. Next thing that we run through is evidence-based fat loss strategies. So in order to be successful with fat loss, you need to make sure that you're focusing on your nutrition. In terms of focusing on your nutrition, you need to focus on your calorie balance and protein intake. So you go online to a TDE calculator, you fill out your information, and then you get into a slight calorie deficit. In terms of your protein intake, you need to make sure that you're having at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. So you turn your weight from kilos into pounds, and that is what you need to have each day in terms of your protein intake. You need to make sure that you're doing strength training first. This will build muscle, which burns calories even at rest. And then you need to make sure that you're doing 10,000 steps a day. This is going to help you in terms of your heart health and burn extra calories. We've then run through sleeping for at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. This will affect the hormone that controls hunger. No one likes being sleep deprived, so it's really essential that you're getting your 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, because that then in turn is going to lead to better results. You need to then manage your stress. This will then prevent stress eating. That goes back to your sleep. Super, super important that you're getting enough sleep. And then lastly, we touched upon meal prepping at least once a week to make sure that you're set up for success throughout the week. So if you guys have got any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. If you guys have any other questions whilst we jump offline in the next minute or two, then please feel free to DM me directly. I will always be happy to answer any questions that you guys have in terms of your fat loss, your weight loss, or in terms of achieving your fitness goals. I'm always on hand here. I've got over a decade of experience. And in terms of my next session, guys, I'm going to be running a session tomorrow night for anyone that wants to join. All you need to do is literally just follow the link in my page on my TikTok. If you guys watch me on YouTube, you can find me on YouTube as well. I'm posting all of my fitness content on YouTube for you guys to watch and for you guys to follow. But thank you guys for joining. If you guys want any other tips or tricks, please follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube as well. I'm posting all of these lives on YouTube, so you guys can go back and watch them in terms of my tips and my tricks. Share this also as well with friends who are potentially struggling. I'm always on hand here to make sure that you guys achieve your fitness goals. Please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you guys free of charge. So just ask me any questions. If you guys have got any other questions for now, please let me know. Failing that, I'm going to be doing my next live tomorrow. If you guys want to get results like this, then stay with me. I want to make you guys that achieve your goals in 2026. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of the evening, and I shall see you guys tomorrow for the next live. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.